Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to the channel, or if this is your first time at our channel, welcome to the channel. My name is Travis Sickle. So I want to go through the IRS Form W-4 as an hourly employee. Now this is something that has just been updated for the first time to make filling out the IRS Form W-4 a little bit easier. So let's go ahead and pull it up on the screen, see what's new, and show you how to fill it out. So here we go with the IRS Form W-4 on the IRS's website. I'll leave a link in the description at the bottom, but go ahead and click on this link. It says use the Tax Withholding Estimator, and then you're gonna get to this first screen and you're gonna wanna check off your filing status. So for this walkthrough, I'm just gonna choose single to make it a little bit quicker and simpler to go through. The second question that's going to pop up is, do you or will you have a job or a pension that regularly withholds federal income tax from your paycheck or pension payments? That answer is going to be yes if you're a W-2 hourly employee. Now, if you have dependents, check off this last box here. Anything else that applies to you, I'm just going to go through this as quickly as possible just so you can see how to fill out the hourly section. Now here's where you're going to want to pay close attention. This is where you're going to fill out your income and your withholdings. So the first area that you're going to want to check off is this first box up here, and it is an hourly job. Then you're going to get this other question that you're going to need to answer with these radio buttons. Select what best describes when you earn income from this job. So if you've had this all year, maybe you had this job starting last year and you think you're gonna have it for the rest of the year, then check off this first option. Otherwise, check off one of these other three. So what do we have here? I currently hold this job, but only for a portion of this year. So if it's a seasonal job, basically what this is gonna do by checking this off, it's gonna ask you for your start and your end date. If you had it all year, it's not gonna ask you for your start and end date. If I had this job earlier this year, meaning you don't have this job right now because maybe you're getting another job, that means you're gonna wanna go back up to the top and add 2 jobs. So if you have a job previously, it's 2 jobs. If you only have the 1 job for the whole year, maybe this is your first job ever, then just have 1. So I wanna check off, I do not hold this job yet, but I expect this job later this year. So put that start date, put that end date. The difference here is it's not gonna ask you what you've already earned this year or withheld because you haven't started this job and you don't have a previous job. So what you wanna check off, or what we're gonna check off through this walkthrough, is I had this job, or I currently hold this job, but for only a portion of this year. So what we can do is check off random dates here in this walkthrough. Again, choose whatever applies to you. Now, where can you get these dates? You can get it from your pay stub, your payroll department. Choose the first pay stub that you have so you can get the date, the start date, and obviously whenever you're going to have an end date. Now, if we want to choose a future date, we can just go ahead and change it. So let's choose the last week in November. So let's do the 26th, last full week in November. And then we get paid, let's say weekly. So here, what we want to do is use your most recent pay stub. So let's say that our most recent pay stub, today is the 29th, which you can't really see because it's kind of grayed out here, which is today. But let's choose last Friday. And then my last paycheck was a good representation of how much I earn on average each pay period. If we choose that, then we can enter the wages per pay period and year to date. But if it's not, let's say you worked some overtime, or let's say that you didn't work the full 40 hours that you might usually work, or 35, whatever you have, then we choose different paychecks. So that means it's going to take some sort of an average to kind of get close and accurate as possible. So if what you made on your last paycheck was not what you think you're normally going to make, then check off that second radio button. My paycheck varies week to week. Otherwise, my last paycheck was a good representation of how much I earn on average. Use that so it's as accurate as possible. So let's go ahead and choose that. Let's say that we made $800 last week, enter the wages year to date. Let's say we made whatever, $20,000. And again, I'm just putting in numbers. They could be very different from yours. Just wanted to show you what this looks like. Based on the information provided, your average pay period income is $800 and your annual is $27,200. Is this correct? So if that's not correct, then you can say no, and you can make that adjustment by putting in what you're gonna make on an annual basis at this job. Otherwise, say yes, and then say enter taxes paid per pay period. So you need to look on your last pay stub. On that particular pay stub, it's going to show you what was withheld. So let's say that, whatever, $50 was withheld, and then you're going to have a year-to-date number. So let's say $2,000, whatever. Then you want to check off any of these benefits that apply. These are only pre-tax benefits, means that's going to reduce your taxable income this year. So that's a traditional 401k, not the Roth 401k or an HSA, FSA, or anything from a cafeteria plan. I'm getting a bonus that will add additional dollars to your paycheck. So up here you see 27.2. If you added a bonus, that's in addition to that amount. Or if none of the above, and that's what we're going to go through in this walkthrough, none of the above, then we move forward. If we don't have any other sources of income, then we can click on next. Now, two things I'll point out is if you have unemployment, check that off so you can enter that amount in there, or self-employment tax from a side hustle or a side gig that you might also have. If that's the case, that's where you enter it in. The reason why you want to enter it in separately and not as another job is because it accounts for the self-employment tax. So there's the federal tax and the self-employment. Self-employment's at 15.3, so that's in addition to. It'll help you make that adjustment, and it will help you withhold it on your W-2 job. So if you have a side hustle, you can actually withhold all of those taxes on your W-2 paycheck. You just have to account for it using this online estimator, and then it'll make the adjustment for you on your IRS form W-4. So if that didn't make sense to you, let me know in the comments down below. So I don't have any other sources for this walkthrough, so we're going to choose next. Now, we're not going to make any other adjustments if any apply to you, or if you have questions on them, let me know in the comments down below. We're not going to choose any other deductions. We're going to choose the standard deduction. For singles, for 2021, it's $12,550. So most people are going to take the standard deduction. If you have a ton of other deductions that you might be eligible to itemize, meaning it has to be over $12,550. Most likely that's not the case. Most likely it's going to be the standard deduction, and then we're going to choose next. Tax credits, anything that applies to you. The one that I'll point out is the child tax credit. If on the first page you did check that off, this is where you want to follow up with their ages so it can make the correct adjustments for your child tax credit, not the advanced child tax credit, just the child tax credit, because the advance is what you get in advance. Now here is the page that we want to pay close attention to because it's going to give us this link down here. Now, if you don't have a link down here, that means you just either need to, one of two things, do nothing because you already filled it out correctly previously, or just sign the W-4 and submit it to your employer because there's no adjustments that you need to make and there's nothing else for you to adjust. Otherwise, click on this link if there is one, Form W-4. Now, this is going to be a special link specifically for you. It's not just downloading the W-4. I'm going to go ahead and pull it up here, but it's going to fill it out for you. Now, it might not look like it, but it is filled out. You just need to print it out, fill in your basic information like your first name, your last name, your address. It already has checked off that we're single. And if we scroll down, let's see if there's any adjustments. There are no adjustments on this particular walkthrough. Now, let me quickly go back here. And here's what you want to pay attention to. If you need to go back and make an adjustment, you have to go back and restart from the beginning. So you really want to make sure that it's actually updating, because I went through it a couple of times and it seemed to not update by making additional adjustments. So you're going to have to literally start over if you want to make an adjustment. Just pay attention to that if you're not seeing an update at the end of the online estimator. So let me go quickly through this again to kind of show you what I'm talking about. If we go to single again and we say that no, we don't have, or yes, we do have a job, and we have no here, just like we did before, nothing's different. And we say we're an hourly employee, and let's just say this walkthrough, we're going to do January 1st to December 31st, because I want to show you the difference there if it makes an actual adjustment. So we'll just choose the same date as before, and we'll say that we made $2,500 on our last paycheck, which was weekly, and then year to date, let's say, was $200,000. I want to put in really different numbers just so you can see what an adjustment looks like. Doesn't matter where your pay is, if it's high or if it's low, it doesn't matter. It'll look the same. Based on the information provided, it looks like you make $235,000 per year. Let's just say, yes, that's correct, and let's move on. And then enter taxes paid per pay period. Let's say it's $250, and then $3,000 year to date, none here. And then we're going to go to next, and then we're going to go to next, and we're going to choose a standard deduction again. It's always $12.55 for singles, none on the child tax credit, any other credits. And then we can see that we need to make a big adjustment. So if I click on this link down here, same thing as before, the IRS Form W-4, let's go ahead and click on it, and it should have an adjustment for us significantly. Yeah. Extra withholdings down here, it says $3,094. And I just wanted to show the difference of if you're just filling this out and at the end you're like, wait a second, this is completely blank, that's perfectly fine. But if it has a space filled out, enter that number in exactly as it shows. Don't make any other adjustments. So here's what I mean. Let's go back to this for a quick second. And let's look at other income, or excuse me, step 3 with the dependents. And it says, if your total income will be between 200,000 or less for singles, 400 for married filing jointly, and let's say that you have 2 kids, you would look at this and say, okay, well, should I multiply 2,000 by 2? So it should be 4,000 here, and then we're going to add it up and put 4,000 here. That answer is no. Don't do it. Don't do it. It's not how you're supposed to do it. This is making the correct adjustment given the information that you're putting into the calculator. So just use what it says for the online estimator. If you're married filing jointly, do the walkthrough together. You can add both your spouse's information, even if you're not updating one of the W-4s, but you can. So if you need to make an adjustment, you can do that. I just want to do a quick walkthrough on this on the hourly employees. If you have a question on this, let me know in the comments down below. And if you've enjoyed this video, be sure to subscribe and leave your comments down at the bottom.